Maybe I'll come back.
Was that? We're gonna wait for.
You
Okay.
probably will, that's why I think I pulled up.
Okay. We're recording?
That's okay.
Okay, are we live now, Sigrid?
Yeah, we're live. We're good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Welcome everyone to our facilities meeting, subcommittee. I'd like to turn it over to Don.
Okay, we're, first thing on the agenda is to talk about our interest in working with SiteLogic and on our Garland roof project that's been going on for a couple of months. Just some updates. In April, we were sort of looking at using contractors, but they would be CoStars or Omnia type vendors. And on Wednesday, the 11th of May, Rose and Jeff requested a Zoom call with us, and they wanted to present an idea of using what he called a GIZA contract, and I was not sure the acronym, but Guaranteed Energy Savings Agreement. So I listened and he explained it very well, but at that time, we had just passed our agenda setting meeting for our May JOC meeting. So we really couldn't present this in the May meeting. So we've asked Jeff and Rose to come by today and sort of explain the benefits of doing that type of an agreement and using that for a way to get our roof repairs done, and also moving at our own pace into the 5-year plan. And that's pretty much it, I guess. With that, Jeff, if you want to
Sure.
explain.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing the state contracts, except you do them one at a time, every single project. You go back and do it, and you don't get a lot of the benefits that GIZA gives you. One of the reasons, there are 3 big reasons why we recommend GIZA. The biggest one is when we have a good relationship with the roofing contractor that you would like to have here. And under the GIZA contract, we can do that across the board with any work that you want done. You don't have to worry about low bid nonsense. If you have a preferred vendor, we can use them. That's one big benefit. The second big benefit is once you contract a GIZA contract, it's a 20-year contract. So you can be done with it after a year if you're happy and you get all your work done, or if you need to wait 3-4 years to start doing other projects in your building, you can do that because that contract runs for 20 years until you guys say we're satisfied and we're done, we don't need you anymore. And the third biggest reason why we recommend GIZA is any project we roll out for you under the GIZA agreement is a no change order process. Unlike even CoStars or public bid, if a contractor runs into problems, they can always come back to you and say, I need more money because I didn't know that this happened, or we ran into something we weren't aware of or weren't told of. That doesn't happen on the GIZA side of the fence. We're at risk and we retain the risk. So if we didn't do our due diligence, or subcontractor didn't do their due diligence, we're not coming back to you for additional costs. The only time we come back to you for additional costs is, for instance, we did a project where we did something in 6 rooms, and you came to us during that process and said, oh, we like what's going on here, we'd like to add 3 more rooms. That's you deciding you want more scope, not us coming to you because we made a mistake or a problem or found something we weren't aware of. So those are really the big reasons why we think GIZA would be good for you guys. Plus, once we're engaged, we can help you with some of the other heartburn you have that's not necessarily directly related, but it's something that's inside our wheelhouse, like your very inexpensive sewer problem, as an example. So we can help with that. Those types of things moving forward. We also can do things, and I don't know what's going on down the road as far as the growth for this building, as far as adding students, but if you needed assistance with planning for that type of thing, we have the ability to bring people in or recommend to you how to go about looking at your building programmatically. You can look at your building as far as considering additions are concerned, tying that into an existing building internal plan. We do that type of thing all the time for clients. We have a couple of different programs we use. One's called an asset condition assessment that we do that would help with those types of planning tools. There's another program we do called long-term facility maintenance, which helps you with that planning. We actually have a tool that helps the school district in anything long-term, 5, 7, 10 years down the road, to plan for expenditures that you see coming up or expenditures that you want to make as far as new or changes to the existing building for whatever reason, programmatic or addition. So there's a lot of different things we can assist with down the road after you've been engaged with us.
So I have a question on like our 5-year plan. We had some line items and you had mentioned that you just put out ballpark numbers without knowing the scope of work, just to get a number out there.
Yeah, well, we call that rough order of magnitude numbers, and a lot of business managers for various schools that we work for, like when they're in the early stages of planning, you know, they want to know, are we talking, if I have 15 items on a list we looked at, is that going to cost me $10 million or $50 million? You know, you want to have some idea. So we do that to get you in the ballpark of what we think those expenditures are. And then what happens down the road when you say, okay, we set aside money for the next year 2, 3, 4 out, then we'll go and we'll do our design and our bid to show you that line item we told you was $148,000. We hard bid it, it's $112,000. Or we hard bid it, it's $162,000. But it's not going to be, we're going to hard bid it and it's $1 million when we told you it's $142,000. That's how that works going down the road when you decide to initiate work to put in place.
Is there like a formula for how you estimate there's like the cost plus engineering fees plus management fees or?
Yeah, well, we have a pre-construction department that handles all the estimating that we do across all our divisions. Not only energy, but we do a lot of construction management for various clients, public and private. So that they're very good at estimating, and they factor all of that in there. Bond costs, professional services fees, whatever insurances are, whatever the overhead costs are, and what we think the subcontractor's overhead and profit might be. So that's why we call it a rough order of magnitude of all of those costs that we would expect that would go into a particular project.
So one of the things that we'll start doing is some long-term facilities planning, kick that off and pressing for a site survey. Is that something that
We do that. We've done so many of them in the last couple of years. It's frightening. We do that all the time.
It's done. Just like the last 2 years.
Don, you with the site plan?
Yeah, I think we have, well, you had that presentation where you had the cameras when you did that site walk.
Yeah.
When you shared that, that was pretty neat, where you could see 3D of the building where we were. And it's good technology that you use.
Yeah, because not everybody has the time. You say, you see the leak that happened down in room 303. Not everybody wants to, from this level, can get in the car and drive out and look at that. You can think, oh, 303, I know what that room is, just like picking a button on a floor plan, so you can see the room in its current state. So that's some of the things that we put into the information that we always provide.
Any other advice on moving forward with the site plans and the smart growth or?
I think one of the things I don't think we necessarily got to yet, because we're just not there. One of the things we like to do is take that list, that laundry list of long-term items, and prioritize them across time. So we'll take a crack at it based on our experience. That's just to kind of get you a starting point, and then we ask, Dawn in particular, along with consultation with whoever he needs to consult with, to review that, because there might be some things that we say, I think you can wait till year 4 to do that, but it's causing you more grief than we're aware of. You say, no, I want that pushed up into year 2. So that we help you shuffle that prioritization list so that you get that annual spend across time as close to accurate as to when you want to roll it out as possible.
Is the work on a roof is that the one that's gonna keep us in compliance with the 30-year warranty? So that's what we're talking about. So it's easily enough to switch over to diesel.
Oh, yeah.
Plan.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it, we've had a lengthy conversation with him. Don't feel pressured. It would be better if you made the approval to move ahead this way sooner rather than later, but because of the scope of work, it's not like a lot of bigger roofing projects. We really want to focus on trying to knock them out in the summer. If this has to push in the fall because you're not ready to make a decision in July, I was telling Don earlier, we're not in a situation where, oh my God, it's not done by August 31st. It's not that kind of scope of work. So you have enough time yet in this calendar year to get it done. And he's not going to mess with the number he put out, even though it's several months old.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Rickert continues to come here and work on our leaks, and we continue to clean the floor, the drains on the roof, and so we're actively maintaining it to try to, you know, show our good faith to make the best of what we have.
We've really prioritized that vendor relationships, whether
Recording in
it's with
progress.
the roof or whether it's with the cleaning. Again, we want to develop those relationships and stay in contact, so there's no surprises on both ends.
Okay.
I think I've asked this question. Are these new roofs that we have renovated in 17, or are these existing roofs part of the renovation?
I think it's the new roof, Don, too.
Well, I think that there's 13 more years left of the warranty, but we had done some major construction on this roof for new air handlers, and there was some different things done up there that we felt like compromised the original, you know, the roof drain plan. So we have some places where the water will lay. And this repair that they're proposing is definitely not the best option, but it's an affordable option. It'll give us, you know, the warranty that we've been getting 13 years, and we like that. It's just this part of the building, it's not the annex.
We just wanted to make the JOC aware of it, and so to go through the GISA component. And thank you, Jeff, for coming out.
We're
And make
familiar.
sure- Yeah,
They do work for us at Pembroke, so yeah, we're familiar with you guys.
You know, when things long-term focused and
We got
plan,
a long-term plan.
when we
with
talk
you guys,
about it,
so-
so as it is. Obviously, I want site plan.
Yeah, no, that-
thank you, Jeff.
You're good.
Thanks, yeah.
Okay.
thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Yeah, Rose wasn't feeling well, so she couldn't make it. Okay, next on the agenda is the Nakamixon water agreement. I have copies if somebody would like a copy, but we're talking about that. I wanted to review some of our requirements and also kind of where we were, current status. We have an agreement that was signed in 2019, and some of our obligations are to submit a report every January with the number of students for the prior year and just how many gallons, average gallons per day that we have discharged. We do have a sewer meter that resides down in Nakamixon State Park. It's about a mile away, and it is an updated meter. It's we feel it's very accurate. It's one of our responsibilities to calibrate it every June, so we make sure we get that calibrated. And the other couple other obligations we have are our potable water, which is our well use numbers that come into the building. So what they look at is they look at how much water are you bringing in to how much water are you discharging. So in working with the meters, I've realized, we are getting some infiltration from rainwater, which is a very common thing with any municipality. And the first thing they say is you got to look at your manholes. You got to look at the simple things first. There's some real obvious things that can be causing that. And we just wanted to make the JOC aware that we are seeing some high numbers when it rains, and we'd like just the okay to continue to start looking at it. I had a conversation with The Percy Borough, I realize they have a camera truck, which they would be willing to help us if we suspected there was some infiltration in a certain place between two manholes on site here. They would be willing to bring their equipment over here, and they do charge a modest fee, but they were very willing to say, hey, we'll come over, we'll check it out for you. If we can identify some of the things that we could repair, we would then have to decide if we were gonna have a contractor look at the whole thing, or if we would just try to handle it through Site Logic if they were involved, or just handle it through other means.
Is the flow meter off the property?
Flow meter we have is on the state park's property.
How far down the line?
It's about, it's about a mile down. It's like 5,000.
The meter is down
Yeah.
close to the plant.
So there's actually 21 manholes between that meter and our building.
Is that where this?
It's down towards the dam.
So it goes
Yeah.
across here and move.
How many manholes are on our property?
I think there's maybe 4 or 5. And, when I open the last one, we do see some clear water running when it's raining. So we have some things right on site here that we think we can take a look at.
Are we responsible to the line from here to where the meter is?
I think that might be considered a shared conveyance system. And it's a little bit like when they wanted to upgrade their wastewater treatment plant. They asked us to pay a portion of that upgrade. And I think the conveyance system is the same way. We probably are responsible for what's on our site here, but after it gets on the street and starts going down through the properties.
So there could be water infiltration from here to where the meter is.
Yes.
We'll just put a meter, the exit of our property.
I just can do that. Yeah, I do have a quote for that. That is an option. Where our gate closes, we have a pit there. You can install a meter there.
Miles a long way for infiltration.
Is it, when you compare the full output to what's shown on the meter, is it jive? I mean, how much is it all?
It's quite a bit higher when it rains. And, just this morning's rain, you could see on the sewer meter for a couple hours and then it dwindled down. So we,
I think we need to find out if it's actually from our site or from down the line somehow. If you say there's only, what do you say, 4 manholes on the property?
something like that. Yeah, there's one around the back of the kitchen and there's a couple across the front of the building where construction is. So, yeah, that would be my,
First place to look would be back here, in my opinion.
there's one manhole back by the kitchen that the top of it is actually kind of broken up. So, and there's low-lying ground where water can seep through the vertical part of that. So, let's look at the simple things first.
We talked about that sewer in 2014. Ran it at percent, so. There's a lot of energy on the agreement. Who's on first, what's on second? But we should put a meter here, not share one.
So the question I have is if we put a meter here, which I think we should do, which is a smart move. But what happens if our meter says A and the meter below that says B? It's higher numbers.
Well,
It will be.
Then then we're responsible.
But do we have an agreement, don't we?
The agreement is 25, we pay 25% of the repairs, upgrades, whatever you want to call
From across our line all the way to that
it.
last
Well,
meter.
I think, like Don said, I think the line up to our property is part of the plan.
yeah,
So we would be, you know,
they had a comprehensive study done in, I think, 2016 of their whole network of sewer lines. And, ours is just one section of that network. that
Sure,
goes to
I
the
understand.
wastewater plant. So it's a common thing when you have rocks and pipes underground, things will shift and move and there's problems that develop. But they did put a lining in our pipe from our property down to the meter. which they feel is a very good repair. They feel it's very likely it's a manhole. One of the manholes has got some cracks, and speaking with Ferguson Borough, they said they have a process where they can address that. So I don't think it's a dark type of a thing, and I think if we show good faith with Knock Mixon and say we're working at it, we can address one or two of these in a timely fashion. Hopefully they won't surcharge us for extra water, because there is a surcharge that could be assessed to us if we go over our limit for the school per day.
Well, the lining process is extremely interesting, and it is very effective if done correctly. And I've had that done on a couple of sewer lines of projects we've had. So if they've done the lining and it's done correctly, then they've taken care of the piping. So again, it's the manhole covers that could be the issue.
So at this point, it's just want to make everyone aware, and we're going to start looking at it. It's summertime now. We can take a look every time it rains and see if we can identify some areas, and then try to we'd have to find out if it's more than how much it would be per repair to see if we'd have to bid it out to contractors or how we would handle it.
And definitely wouldn't have the throughput during the summer months as you would during the regular school year, so it should be easier to recognize when you have a big rainstorm.
Well, yeah, I've been there and opened the manhole when there was no students here on a Saturday and we have flow and it's clear. So, you can tell we have to,
That's pretty evident thing.
we have to check into it. That's really all I have. More questions?
Well done. Thank you, Don, for looking at different ways to solve the problem. We have all the information we need to do to move forward, so appreciate it. And then that's the end of the facilities. We'll be back on at 7 o'clock.
The Upper County Technical School to order. Pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Graham, if you call the roll. Ms. Clemens here. Mr. Hallowell.
I'm here.
Mr. Torment.
Here.
Ms. Grishaliak. Here. Dr. Odd.
Here.
Mr. Shermer.
Here.
Mr. Rice.
Here.
Mr. Post. Seven. Yes. Okay, an executive session was held preceding this meeting. And that would bring us to public comments for personnel matters.
Litigation involving Mr. Sweden in federal court and, I'm sorry, the Act. Act 44, thank you, Act 44 presentation.
Okay, thank you. And that'll move us to public comment. Anyone with public comment in person?
Has to be on the agenda, right?
The first public comment period is for agenda items, correct? Okay, anyone online? Okay, seeing none, then we will move on. Next is the administrative reports, Dr. Herrera.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dennis Clemens. We had a wonderful senior ceremony. Representative Stats, Dr. Diamond, we had Julie Kemmerer as a student speaker, Anna James. A lot of support. We thank the JOC members for coming out. Mr. Master's son, the jazz band, thank you, Greg. It was awesome. Way to set the tone. Very professional, recent Penn Ridge grad, but it was like I'm professional musicians, and not like it was. So
It was awesome.
It was
Yeah, that was
awesome.
great.
Amazing, and it helped set the tone. We're so thankful for that. Any other comments about graduation?
No, but just like you said, our speakers were amazing, you know,
You could feel the excitement in the air. That's what I liked about it. You could feel the actual excitement in the air of the students and everybody that's in attendance. So it was an awesome night. Let's start with the music.
that set the tone, you know.
Thank you. I had an opportunity to participate in NCLA. It was a national podcast. I talked about CT reducing the critical skills gap. And I also had to talk about the amazing school community of Upper Bucks County Technical School. So I just wanted to, report that. Best practices, we're working with Dr. Foster and Amanda Stoney from CAST about being the first school to offer a CTE UDL micro-credential in the country. We have a meeting coming up in the next couple of weeks. I've also been working with the Office of Career Tech and Adult Education, Institute of Educational Services, and a lot of other offices to create a hub for also recruiting and retaining career technical education instructors. On the agenda, and a little bit later in my report, is our amazing instructors and what they have to do to come in and teach at a technical school. So that's being looked at nationally, and it's very, very important that we create that culture for them to come in and be successful, like our instructors in the career tech ed field. Act 158, I was working with Dr. Foster to present at the PACTA conference. Mrs. Natitis, if you're on there, thank you for all your work with the UBCTS camp, which is starting next week. We have 77 campers, soon to be 80. And it's going to be great to see the elementary students running in the halls next week and in the afternoon. Mrs. Kay's been involved with that. It's just great. They become aware. The campus looks beautiful, Don, thank you. And when they come in there, it's just a great spirit and feeling that we have here. And those students are coming back, and they're going to be placed in our programs in 5 years. Mr. Linden and Mrs. Linden, thank you for your donation of $250 in memory of Mr. Donald Duvall, a big supporter of UBCTS. Mr. Duvall is an electrical engineer and served on West Rock Hill board supervisor for 18 years, proud graduate of Penn State, a big supporter of CTE and a friend to the school, me, Mr. and Mrs. Linden, and the staff's efforts in providing a world-class education for our students. I was lucky to spend time discussing our programs with him and touring the facilities. Mr. Linden, would you like to add anything?
That's good, thank you. I got any comments later.
Okay. If everyone could just join me in a brief moment of silence. Thank you. We will be using the monies, and left it up to myself and the JOC. We thought because of the end of the year, putting that into the needy student fund would be the right thing, and so we appreciate that.
He was a really great person, a great friend,
God bless you.
and a huge advocate for here.
Thank you. So we have 2 teachers on the agenda for tenure. And thank you, Mr. Masters, who's present with his family. Would you like to introduce them, Mr. Masters?
Sure. It's my wife Rachel, my son Gregory, and my daughter Anastasia.
Thank you. Mr. Masters worked as a diesel mechanic for 20 years. The last 10 years of working in the skilled trades, he was a shop foreman for Del Val International Trucks. Proud CT graduate of Middle Bucks Institute in high school, earning his associate's degree from Bucks County Community College. His program was in full enrollment last year. He continues to receive numerous donations. Mrs. Reese may be on, we have a picture, 5,000 check from Bergie's to celebrate Bill Witowski's contributions. Coopersburg, Kenworths and Cummins donating engines. Schuylkill Historical Fire Society donated a diesel engine to his program like that. The students rewired, freed it up, reinstalled the injectors, changed the oil, and she's running again for the first time in 20 years. We had a recent, not a grad, we had someone from Quakertown that works for, I'm sorry, with names, but he was in the diesel program. How many years ago, Mr.?
Before Mr. Yerkes, so that would be like 30 years ago, something like that.
Just amazed at the way the program has developed, the curriculum and the equipment. And he wants to come back and give and donate. But again, seeing the world-class, what Mr. Masters has done in 3 years is just unbelievable. Numerous cooperative education placements. Here is Mr. Masters and a lot of the hard work with our professional development team and his mentor, Mr. Young, working with Max Teaching, developing our NOCD continuous improvement plan, all the way to the present with his seniors graduating. A little story, tradition, Mr. Masters, of the colors and
Yeah, it's actually something that Joe Yerkes did and Marilyn Reese had suggested last year when the seniors were graduating. And I said, okay, you know, I'll go along with it, but I didn't get it until we were there. Once we were there, I understood it's, I don't know, it's neat. And that, you know, that moment for any senior, you know, soon to be my daughter next year, my son last year, but you can feel their energy. You guys talked about the energy. You know that this is it's a very historic moment, you know, and it kind of puts a cherry on top, I think. So it worked out well. And, you know, they decided they wanted to do it. So that's what we did.
thank you. And just some pictures again of the Birdies donation on the screen. Mr. Masters working on the different engine, has numerous cooperative education placements, the donations. You can see the students and how excited they are being part of the program. Mr. Masters has a unique rapport and the culture and climate that he creates in that classroom of respect, working with non-traditional students, just a civil classroom with respect is unbelievable, etc. So we thank you, and we know that we're voting on your tenure and it starts next year, but we appreciate all that you've done. Having to go back to Temple and taking how many credits, like 60 credits.
Yeah.
It takes a special person to do that. Yeah, and family.
Support my family. It's not easy, you know, I'm not gonna say it is, but thank you so much for all that. That's really nice. To, you know, talk about all these things about, you know, I guess my accomplishments. So I appreciate that. And thank you for the opportunity, you know. It's obviously, I think any teacher will tell you, it's nothing what they expected when they walked in, you know. But in a short amount of time, I think you start to get the hang of it and understand that, you know, there's a lot more to what you're doing other than just teaching about trucks. And but at any rate, it was a great school year last year. Like Dr. Herrera said about that motor, it's a 671 two-stroke Detroit, you know, it was supposed to go in a 1968 American LaFrance truck fire.
I have one that I'm using on my hammer.
Yeah. It's just amazing. Those engines can lay around forever and, you know, you prime them up, free them up, and, you know, they light right up. So it's pretty cool. And they thought it was cool. So we were all real excited about that. So
That's awesome.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Masters or anything else? No, thank you.
I have a little story
Okay.
about the engine, and it shows you the dedication that Greg has and his family. It was late one day, and Greg rented a truck. He drove, I don't know how many miles to get that engine. And he came back, okay, he had to get it unloaded in his shop, and his wife Rachel was in the car with him, in the truck with him. And it's just, you know, above and beyond the teaching hours, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Masters. We appreciate
thanks
it.
for your help.
I went on that thing with.
Oh, about more than 2,000 pounds. I don't know, probably 2,800 something. Yeah. We had a strap break, so then the engine's like, this is bad.
You didn't do it yourself.
That was neat though.
Mr. Masters, I'm sorry, Mr. Dietrich, he completed 2 degrees in ag education, food science at Penn State University. He was the first instructor for the ag tech program. And the program is fully enrolled next year. Solidified college articulation agreements with Del Val and Rutgers. 24 students earned credits at Del Val University. We talked about the rising costs of tuition, et cetera. That's a point of emphasis and focus that we have. Brought in support from the community to assist with equipment. The $1,000 grant for the hydroponics. 500 equipment to raise RAS and teach animal nutrition, which will measure the sugar levels. It's again, the theory, along with the hands-on, and then release some trout in East Branch of the Perkiomen. And he's very active in community support. We've done work with Palisades Middle School and Penridge, restoring their gardens. This is his 3rd year in the program. Mr. Krug from Lampire, first piece of advice 3 years ago when we changed the program, make sure you get students on those career paths and show them the value of the school to work, which we are doing. And we thank Mr. Krug and all the other people that help support this program. And there he is with 3 of his NTHS Honor Society members and at graduation. Mr. Dietrich, looks like you've gotten a little older over the last couple of years from that picture.
Not old enough.
And we're, again, the co-op students and the school to work, his students winning awards, scholarships through the West County Women's Club. Again, Morningstar Farms, Mr. Linden, thank you for that connection. Too, with that, a family friend of the Lindens. We have 2 students, 3 work there during the course of the year. And here they are working, planting a lot of the vegetables at Penn Ridge for wellness. And still maintaining some of the poinsettia and the wreath sales. And the releasing the ag tech. This is Grachowiak. Your son is in there as a freshman, and sorry about that. To get back, in 2019, this was our first TikTok video that we did to kind of promote the wreath sale, and again clean up the community service, working with Mrs. Danka for student ag experiences, etc. So we thank you for your service to the students, the community of Upper Bucks. I would like to say anything, Mr. Dietrich.
It's been a wonderful 3 years. I've learned a lot, I've grown a lot, and I look forward to what the future holds as well.
Currently, you're taking classes, if you want to just explain that too.
Yeah, I'm currently taking online courses with North Carolina State University to pursue a master's in ag and extension education.
Good job. Great.
Thank you. Any comments?
I would just like to say that Greg just loves being here, and you're such a big part of that, making him feel welcome and just learning so much this year, so thank you. As from a parent.
Definitely, thank you both. Your passion really comes through with your students and your teaching in your classrooms. And you can tell just listening to you, as well as listening to your students and getting to know them and walking through. So thank you so much for everything that you bring here. Our kids are lucky to have you. And you may need to explain to Mr. Cormack what a TikTok is.
Shame on you.
Thank you all, and you're giving a lot of time up. You're welcome to stay. It's up to you. But if you want to head out, so purely your choice. Appreciate it. So we had a recent Marine Corps placement, a student serving this month. Mr. Kozak has a neat tradition. I'm not sure if he's on, but he passes the torch from his students. In the picture of one of his seniors going into his apprenticeship at Ironworkers Local 401. And I liked his enthusiasm. I guess the theme is our wonderful faculty, only 8 days until the start of next year. And we know that the teaching doesn't stop during the summer. Everyone's excited, during the school year. The Road Angels gave us $2,000 in gift cards. Their car show is at on July 10th. We appreciate all of their support. Boston, Chandelou won an award through the Bucks Montgomery Workforce Development Student Achievement Award. We really, 4 years ago, cemented our relationship with the home builders. It's systemic. They're here to support. This is going to be beneficial with the rising cost of supplies, et cetera. We're going to be reaching out to these groups to make sure that we could still maintain all our equipment and supplies. Anna James, and she may be on Mrs. Stanka tonight, continues to get a lot of awards. Mrs. Hyde retired after 16 years of service to the cafeteria, and she's going to be on the golf course taking up golf. So if you see her out there, hopefully you're going to get a hole-in-one, Mrs. Hyde. We had a school safety leadership discussion working with district attorney, Mr. Weintraub, to make sure that we provide safe secure learning environment for our students. We have the chambers combining. This is the second time they've been on campus, both with Penridge and Quakertown, and along with the Rotaries, being that central hub and making sure that if we're having all the resources we can for our students. We continue to place students in the IBEW. Our students are getting certifications. As you know, from graduation, 100% of our seniors left with an industry certification this year. Our summer camp starts on Monday. We have 80 students that'll be running the halls. And we have numerous placements now, which will continue during the summer on school tour. So that's my report. I thank you. And does anyone have any questions or comments?
Good things going on, that's all I have. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Great things going on. That's good, great.
Okay, and that brings us to our subcommittee reports, facilities.
Yeah, today we talked, we had a presentation from Jeff Harris from Site Logic, and he was sharing information about the benefits of Upper Bucks County Tech School entering a DEVA agreement with Site Logic, and how that could streamline the roof repair through Garland. So we had some question time there to ask questions. That would be a decision for the JOC to decide if we would entertain that. But it didn't sound like it was real urgent for the roof repair, because it's not a huge project, but I guess they would like to have some type of a go ahead if we were going to go that direction. If we would like to get a roof done by the fall, it would be fall or weekends. It's getting kind of late. Is there any questions on that?
Did he address the delay between, the fact that we kind of thought this was happening for a few months, and now it's kind of, hey, let's approve this so we can get started on something that all of us kind of thought was already in the works?
Yeah, he did, originally in April, they were talking about using an Omnia or a CoStar's type of contractor with Garland. And I think between Jim Mangana and Jeff, they realized that was just gonna be very difficult to do. And when they started talking about the Giza, I think it came up in May. It was actually a couple days after the agenda setting meeting. They kind of proposed it, but we missed that last month. So that kind of was part of that delay. And just having him explain it tonight, I think was better. There is a process, a formality of our school advertising for a partner for a GIZA agreement, and then they would be one of the companies that we could select from. And if we do select them, we can use Garland. We're not really obligated to go lowest bidder, and we can also move into any of the other long-term 5-year projects that we talked about. So I did call Jim Mangano today and asked him how he felt about it. He said he felt very comfortable with that method. He said they talked and they both agree that would be the best option for getting our roof done moving forward.
Did he say what would be difficult about going through CoStars? Did we get into that or not really?
No, we didn't really talk about that.
If there was change orders, I believe, then
There's no change orders allowed or allowable in GIZA projects as
No,
opposed to.
Giza, they are permitted. It's CoStars where you can't have CoStars. It's a fixed fee because you've already gone through the.
Sorry. Yes,
The 3 points he made as benefits were, we can use Garland, the relationship we have with Garland to maintain our roof warranty. And it could be a 20-year contract with SiteLogic, so we can move at our own pace if we need to budget a little bit every year to progressively work into it, or we can end it after 1 year if we feel like we got the roof done and it's really not, there's no benefit in it. And there is no change orders if we, Garland would hold their price for the roof repair, even though materials and things are becoming more expensive, and they also, if they want to mobilize to do the roof, if they have to do it more on weekends or whatever, that would be an additional cost, but they're going to hold their pricing for us. And through Garland, I talked with them and they said they're very committed to take care of our school. No matter what happens and what we decide, they're going to be there to support us with our warranty and help make repairs as needed. So we project.
Is there any schedule for them to do the work, or are they doing the work now? Do we have leaks?
As far as the scope of work, they did the infrared testing and they've marked out the roof where the actual insulation would be removed and where they would put new insulation. So I think Garland has a pretty firm scope of work. They just are at a point now where any contractor that's used has to be approved by Garland to honor their warranty. So they would bring in 3 of their contractors to get the best price and look at the areas to be changed, to be cut out and redone. They'd make sure they would do it in a way that they're not leaving our building exposed on the weekend or whatever.
Is that on the horizon, scheduled to be done next month? This
No,
year?
at this point, I think if we entered into the GIZA agreement, it would still kind of, the time it takes to advertise for that and to get it actually in the works, it probably is a fall project at this point. If we could approve it, if there is a meeting next month in July, if we could approve that, it would take us into the fall for the actual repair.
So there isn't,
I'm not happy with the way this is turning out.
It's
so there
It's
isn't,
taking too long.
there isn't a bidding process with using CoStars, so can't we compare what the cost is through CoStars to what we're getting back through Giza? Because it's not like we're putting it out to bid, CoStars is an exception to that, so.
Except if the contractor, it's an approved contractor for Garland, then you have your warranty issue, yeah.
Well, right, but we don't have to go with CoStar, we don't have to, but we can get the pricing from CoStars, and that doesn't cost us money to get the CoStars pricing.
Pal States has done it before where they used CoStars or something similar to buy all the materials, have them on site, and then get the approved contractor to do the work.
I guess I'd like to see it priced out both ways, especially this late in the game, because we've kind of given the direction to get this thing moving months ago, and, we kind of feel like we're, hey, by the way, I know you thought we were working on this the last few months, but now we want you to approve this, and then we'll start working on you thought we were working on for the past few months, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I
So-
totally get that.
If we can get the cost both ways, I think that would be helpful. And also because, you know, Penridge, we're familiar with the Giza projects, but not everybody here is. And I think having that cost comparison will be helpful for everybody else who hasn't gone through that same process and, you know, direction of bidding, so.
Okay, well, I could definitely ask them to look at that.
Thank you.
It's been as we have Mrs. Danka on with some good news about one of her students, Anna James. Is
Great.
that okay to go back to my
Sure.
report?
Yep.
Ms. Danka, are you on?
I am. Hopefully you can hear me because I'm sitting outside.
Yes.
I was on last month to say that we had gotten notice just before the meeting about Anna James receiving a finalist position for her proficiency application in equine management. She's on Zoom with me as well. She was out at state convention at the beginning of June to, I guess, get the announcement of the positions and who officially won it. So if she wants to hop on and explain what convention was like and where she placed, I'll leave that up to her.
Thank you.
Okay, so I went out to convention, which was at Penn State. So it was about like a 4-hour drive. It wasn't bad. I got there and it was in a big arena in the Penn State college, their campus. It started off, it was like really fun. It started off with everyone getting together to know each other. And then we went into awards. So I played second in Let's Day for equine proficiency. And then after that, we kind of went through other awards and just had like a nice, like fun time. And that was basically it.
Well, you're very humble, Anna, but congratulations. That's a wonderful accomplishment, placing second. And great. And we're gonna miss you in graduating, but come back and visit. And remember, I always said you'll make a great teacher one day too, as a backup. Okay, thank you. Sorry about, I don't know.
No, it's good. Did you want to add anything, the finance subcommittee, did you want to add anything about it? It says an SBOC date, no?
We have a finalized contract essentially, so you'll be signing it the next day or two.
Okay.
So,
Anything else for finance or, no, okay? Policy subcommittee, the policy didn't meet.
We did not meet, but on the agenda for first reading that we reviewed last month are policies, the following policies that are listed on the agenda.
328, 332, 341, 342, 343, and 351.
Yeah, just mind it, which includes minor recommended updates to language. And those are the 300 section, and that's compensation, working periods, benefits for part-time employees, jury duty, paid holidays, and drug and substance abuse.
Okay. And the program subcommittee also did not meet. Did you have anything you needed to add, update for that though, or no?
Not at this time.
Okay. All right, then that brings us to the consent agenda, which includes the May minutes, the May financial reports, the June bills payable, the personnel recommendations, which includes the appointment of Dr. Bolton as the new superintendent of record from July 1st, 2022 to July 30th, 2024, at an annual salary of $5,000. It includes the tenure for George Dietrich and Gregory Masters. So congratulations to both of you. It includes the resignation of Adriana Ruggieri. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry if I butchered your name. Also, the authorization for the administration to pay bills over July and August to be ratified at the August JOC meeting, the annual insurance policies, the approval of Mr. Khan as solicitor for the 22-23 school year, And the rates are included on here. Non-routine matters, $200 per hour, $130 per hour for legal assistant. The rate for routine or general advice would be $170 per hour for attorneys and $130 per hour for legal assistant. Those rates become effective July 1. The continuation and or initiate student activity accounts, and it lists all of the accounts for next year. The policies for first read that Dr. Herrera just shared, the 22-23 food service agreement with Penridge, the approval of emergency instructional time template plan, renew one-year contract with ESS from July 1st through June 30th, 2023 to provide substitute teachers for the 22-23 school year at the current rates. Approve the master services agreement with the Bucks County Intermediate Unit for identification, prioritization, and completion of outstanding and ongoing technical requests needs from July 1st to June 30th, 2023 for up to 5 days to be billed at $1,000 per day. Approve the designation of the equipment listed as obsolete and approval for its sale and disposal. Crop King NFT 8-25, electrical system tester, CAT 3314 engine, Detroit D12, 1985 Mackie 9, 1982 Mackie 9, 1982 Cummins L10, 1990 Cummins 5.9, 1993 CAT 3208. Am I butchering all of this?
No, you're doing
That's
fine.
laughing at
Keep
me.
on going.
Miscellaneous hydraulic valve body engines from the 80s and 90s.
I will make a motion to approve.
Wait. Is there anything on this list that anyone would like voted on separately?
With that, I will make a
No?
motion
Okay,
to approve A through N.
Second.
Thank you, sir.
moved by Mr. Rice, seconded by Mr. Cormack. Questions or comments from JOC members?
That was a lot, but thank you.
I don't like doing it this way. I need to do a little homework to see these motions before.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? That motion passes 7-0.
May I just add something to that?
Sure.
Dr. O'Connell, we thank you for being the superintendent of record for the last year. You've been 2 years, sorry. But you've been wonderful to work with. Your guidance and diplomacy has been personally, helpful to me. And on behalf of JOC, we have flowers which will be sent your way soon. And thank you for all you've done and will continue to do for UBCTS.
At least it was just a kind of routine couple of years.
Nothing special. Nothing special. How do you work there?
Yeah, so I want to thank you. It has been an unusual past 2 years, but I've enjoyed working with all of you. Some of you, this is my second time around working with you as superintendent of record, so great to work with you again. I'm not going far. I'm, still right down the street, so I look forward to working with you again in the future. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. O'Connell.
Thank you, be a stranger.
Okay, and that brings us back to public comment. And this can be on anything under the sun, Mr. Langdon.
I've got a number of comments. I've got some questions too. I don't understand board docs from the standpoint of minutes that are approved or any official document. I don't think it's a real document. I think it's some computer file that can be changed. Am I correct?
There are only, Tracy, is there anybody other than you that actually has administrative rights to the board docs? Yeah, literally just one person in this board.
I don't care about administrator rights, that's been hacked before.
Well, okay,
And that means it's not really a document. So if you really have an approved document, then you should have a picture of that document on board docs on the system, not a computer file that can be hacked, can be duplicated, can be copied, can be altered. That's my opinion. Having worked with computers for a long time. It's not really a document, it's a file, a binary file. Second thing is, there was mention of a 20-year contract. I don't know if that's approved, but I'm opposed, as a public standpoint, to any 20-year contract when everybody here is going to be not here in 20 years.
Hey.
You look great. Hey, I've been here long enough, I agree with you. So no one will remember what happened. And the third thing is that you move the July meeting, I think, which was originally the 19th or something like that, to the 11th. I assume that in that meeting, the JOC is going to vote on the next director of Upper Bucks Tech School. Am I correct?
I'm taking mental note of all your questions and I'm gonna answer them all when you're done.
You could answer that.
Well, I want to put my vote in for Dr. Herrera. That's Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Linden.
Thank you.
Mrs. Cram, don't we have all of our documents backed up somewhere? Do we have a paper copy of all of those backed up in a file somewhere?
I can't promise that it's all of them, but it's pretty close to all of them.
They're backed up in the PDFs and then also in cloud.
And most of them are all now.
They're backed up offsite.
Okay. Just so that we have some kind of backup in case somehow they get deleted, that we would have some kind of backup.
Kind of backups and what the restore dates were and when they can be, yeah.
The minutes are all downloaded into PDFs and offsite.
Can I make further comment about that? When I worked in engineering, we had revision notes on each document. As the document was revised, it was the date, the revision was changed. We had an originator name, whoever wrote the document in the first place. And that's how we kept track of someone holding the wrong piece of paper or looking at the wrong file. So that's what I don't see here. I see a bunch of computer files. And how do I know that's the original or the approved version?
It would be traceable. It's just a matter of the date and the timestamp, and it's all that stuff is documented in the background side from the perspective of when Ms. Graham would have changed the, updated the document, the PDF, and the backup dates and stuff like that. So it's all documented, and it's just on the backside where it's not visible, but there are documentation trails of how it would be if there was anything modified. You can go back in from yesterday to the day before to the day before. If there was any modifications, changes, you could see the different PDFs.
Yes.
Where they were
Yes,
listed.
I can't see the difference when I'm on board docs. I can't see what.
No, you'll only get the latest version.
I think he's saying from the public's perspective that, she'd be able to access those changes, but he couldn't access to see if it was changed.
Correct.
So, maybe we can have a conversation about whether or not, how we can try to.
Ask the lawyer here, is the computer file a legal
Is there-
document?
No, I don't regard board docs as the official anything. I regard board docs as a convenience, almost like a copy of an agenda you
I
get.
understand how
Yeah.
board docs is used, but I'm talking about a real document.
Yeah, I mean, so I like it. It's worth exploring, and we will explore it.
Okay.
Contracts, we've got signed original contracts every time there's a contract.
Right.
Yeah, and we send the PDF back and forth so nobody can mess with it. Minutes, there's still a minute book that we still maintain that, regardless of what you may see, the minute book is the official document. But, that's just two examples, and we'll explore what's up there. Policies, we track the revision dates. Like if you look at a policy in our policy book, it will show you all the various dates that it was revised.
But I don't see it.
Well, the policy ones you will, the others you would not. That's correct.
We've had board docs in Quakertown. We started working with them in 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
From a reliability and security standpoint, their track record is very good. That said, Mr. Khan is exactly right. The file that's on the internet is not the official minutes, or should be construed as the official minutes. We keep paper copies of that in Quakertown, and we do here, I'm sure. That's what we're required to retain and provide. And that's the safest way to do it, because nobody can weasel their way in, so.
Right.
But, you know, it would be a way to make it a little clearer that this is a document. How we substantiate that on the web 100% of the way, I'm not sure, but.
And members of the public could file a right to know request to get a copy of the official minutes, correct? If you wanted to double check something.
But it's worth looking at the various things we post on board docs to make sure that we're comfortable with where the originals are and how secure.
Yeah, because if you had an image of the actual document on board docs, that would suffice.
Well, you can mess around with it. Yeah.
Well, you'd have to have some kind of image editor.
And
It's easier to deal with an ASCII file if that's what you're using.
And regarding your other question, we don't usually have a July board meeting at all. So we didn't move a July meeting. We created one because we don't usually meet in July, but we decided to have a July meeting because we have numerous staffing openings that we're hoping to vote on and have completely ready to go in July. So that way we're, we can get those people started and prepared for the fall.
But
So,
according to the internet, you had a July meeting scheduled at a different date than the 11th. And then all of a sudden today, it changed and I couldn't even get into the schedule.
there was an August 18th meeting, which was supposed to be our next
There was a
board meeting.
July meeting.
And we're creating a special board meeting on July 11th. So if there was something that suggested there was a prior July meeting, there wasn't. I'm not sure what you're referring to because
Well,
there wasn't one.
I can't point it out to you because it's gone. It's a computer.
Okay.
We usually don't.
Disappeared.
It takes a while.
Regarding the executive director search, we are well underway. We're in the middle of conducting interviews and hopefully we will have something by the July meeting. So stay tuned.
I will.
All right. Any other comments or questions from the public?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Fitchess, one of the cosmetology teachers. I just want to let you know that Mrs. Dios was reelected as our association president. I was reelected as the association vice president. Mrs. Free, the association secretary, and Mr. Dietrich, the association treasurer. So we look forward to working with you all again. And whatever administration we have next year, whoever that is, we really want to work on the culture and climate of the school. A lot of things went down. We're working on improving and just look forward to working with everybody and better the lines of communication across the board. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Any other public comments in the room? No? Okay. Anyone online? Okay, seeing none. That brings us to announcements. A special JOC meeting is scheduled for July 11th at 7 o'clock in this room. And the next regular JOC meeting is scheduled for August 18th at 7 o'clock in this room. Are there any joint operating committee concerns? Okay, then
I'll make a motion
All right,
Second.
all right.
What's the time?
7:56.